Hey, friends in Christ. If you've been following this channel for any period of time, and I know millions of you do, you probably recognize that the format has changed a little bit. Lately, I've been telling a lot of stories. Stories about life, faith, God, hope, grace. We've talked about a lot, but I've been doing it all and teaching it all through stories. And that's no accident. Because the one who changed my life, that's exactly what he did. Jesus told stories, not lectures, not debates. He simply told stories. Unforgettable, simple, soul piercing stories. He told stories about seeds and sheep, about coins and kings, and about lost sons and generous fathers. And today, I want to talk about why. Why did Jesus speak in parables? Well, there's a moment in Matthew 13 where the disciples literally ask Jesus that question. Why do you speak to people in parables? And Jesus answers with something kind of wild. He says, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. Well, that kind of makes me feel like I'm part of a special club, right? I love it. So, in other words, Jesus used parables on purpose, not to confuse people, but to filter them. See, some people came to him because they truly wanted truth. Others came to trap him, to debate him, or just get something from him. So Jesus told stories that acted like a magnet for the hungry and a mirror for the proud. And if your heart was open, the story draws you in. But if your heart is closed, you'll miss it. You see, parables aren't just stories, they're invitations. They say, hey, do you really want to know what I'm saying? Then come closer, ask questions, think about it. And let's be honest, sometimes we're not ready for the truth straight up. If you tell someone, you need to forgive, and boom, defensiveness. But if you tell them a story about a father who forgives a rebellious son, something shifts. Because Jesus didn't start with rules. He started with real life. He didn't say, let me teach you about grace in a theological framework. He said, let me tell you about a kid who blew it all, hit rock bottom, and came home. And just like that, you're crying. You see yourself in the pig pen. You feel the weight of regret and the relief of forgiveness. That's the power of a story. It sneaks past the defenses. It speaks to the part of us that still wants to believe there's hope. That maybe God still wants us, even after everything. I think of it like this. I'm sure you go to church on Sunday. How many sermons can you actually quote word for word? Probably not too many, right? But we hear them, and we're paying attention while we're there. But I bet you remember the story of the Good Samaritan, or the prodigal son, or the house built on sand versus the house built on the rock. Jesus gave us word pictures that we could carry for life. Not just information, but transformation. You don't need to pull out your notes when your life is falling apart. You remember, oh yeah, storms come, but my foundation is on the rock. I'll stand. And Jesus made deep truth memorable. So think about it this way. Jesus didn't tell stories for the sake of it. He told stories that place you in the middle of the message. Every parable is personal. Now, are you the good soil or the rocky ground? Are you the one who forgave or the one who couldn't let go? Are you inside the feast or standing outside, arms crossed? Now, I bet you tied the story from Jesus to each one of those questions. You know, Jesus had a way of holding up a mirror and saying, "You're in this story. Do you see yourself?" And that's the beauty of it. Because every story is an invitation, not to feel judged, but to feel seen. To know that God is speaking directly to you and offering something more. So, what's the point? Why did Jesus speak in parables? Because stories reveal who's really listening. Because they soften hearts. Because they stick. And because they make it personal. Because they invite you to ask, am I willing to follow Jesus deeper? And you know what? Jesus still speaks to us through those stories today. He still whispers through them. He still stirs hearts. And maybe, if you're hearing this right now, it's because there's a parable he wants you to hear. And it's got your name written all over it. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Jesus said that. So now I'm asking, do you? Have a beautiful day, my friends. God bless you. Bye-bye.